Come on in, and we'll start here first. We're going to go this way, but we'll start up here. Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, Greg.
Hello.
Yeah. Don't get in front of Cindy. She won't go listen.
I'll stay inside.
Welcome. A few more coming in. We're waiting for one more ticket holder, it sounds like.
Slides going over.
Yeah.
Sarah, you want to come with me?
Because you wouldn't be able to see his bags.
I know, I just.
Well, welcome. I think we're waiting on one more ticket holder, it sounds like, so we're going to wait just a sec before we get started.
It's going to the highest bidder, I'm sure.
50 cents. All right. Here's what we're doing. All right. Well, we'll get started. Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
I got here on Monday, and I'm rooming with Mark Ivan Cole, and man, it's been fun rooming with him. But you lose track of the days already. It's like, is this really Thursday? So welcome. What I want to do is share a little bit about my perspective, my lens. I definitely don't want to make this about me. It's about this artwork, but I think it's important that you know how I view it and what I'm looking at through my own eyes. And part of that, first of all, is I have two teenage daughters, almost freshman in high school, senior in high school this coming year. And and those of you who know I have kids and grandkids, just seeing them create and how creative they are has been, that was my art experience for a long time. Because I haven't been necessarily in the art world. I've been in web and graphic design, but to be in the art world, it was my kids' artwork that we hang on the fridge. But it's wonderful to see, especially my youngest, both of them, they'll get together and they will come up with like cartoon characters or little illustrations, and they give them names and they give them a background and a personality, and it's just so fun. And my youngest daughter, she used to love to make board games. She'd come up with the rules and we'd refine them together, and then we'd design the boards together. And so part of my lens is the human aspect. I just like to see the way their brains work, and I like to see the way your brains work. Some of you have art here. And so part of what I want to do, and we're going to try to work this out with the mic, and they can't tell me, no, I can't do this because this is the last one, and what can they do? They can't tell me I can't do it again. So if you have art in the show, and I see the Freemans, I see Greg, and I see several around, if you have art in the show, what I'd like to do when we get to your piece, and you're going to have to tell me because I can't remember where everybody's is, but tell me your piece, tell me your name, I'll come over so we're close with the mic, and I would love to hear what made you paint that piece. Okay, so I want the human perspective. I want to hear from you. The other lens that's a big one for me is I would call it the spiritual aspect of art. And I know we have different meanings for that, and I want to share with you a little bit of my meaning for that. I used to be a pastor, and I'm still involved with the church, and I do believe in God. I understand not everybody does, but this is my lens, and I believe there is a God. And I believe if there is a God, then He's a creator. And also that when God made us, that He made us like Him, so He made us to be creators. And one of the things about art that I think is so valuable to me, and you know when you get into it, you get in that flow state, and you get some it doesn't always happen, but there's times where you don't feel good about it, and you push through, and then you get to the end, you get through that ugly stage, and you just feel accomplished. And you feel fulfilled in a way that a lot of other things don't do for you. And there's other ways to do that, woodworking, or even a good job that you enjoy and you do something and you fulfill. But in my view, that is because we were made to create. And so when I look, I'm really, not always consciously, but that's part of the lens that I look through. that creative aspect, seeing God in other people and seeing God in their work is really important to me. So we're going to walk through, and we have an hour, and Richard McKinley said I can go as long as I want, so no, I'm just kidding. But he did say if I get in trouble to call him, but we're gonna go for about an hour. I don't think we have time to talk about every single piece. I wish we did. You probably wish we didn't. But we're going to go through a bunch. But again, if we get to your piece, please say, hey, Clint, that's my piece. Interrupt me if you need to. I'll go over by you so we get the mic, and I want to hear what caused you to create that, and what motivated you to create that piece. And I'd rather you talk about it than me. You know better than I do. All right, we're going to go on the open side first, and we're going to work our way around. Can't skip Kelly's piece here. I'm also going to tell you about my lens. My dad is an accountant and has kind of that engineering, logical brain, and he passed that on to me. So I'm not necessarily an emotional, empathic person. I would say I'm a compassionate person. I think being a pastor kind of helped with that. But I'm not necessarily always emotionally driven. And so when I look at art, sometimes I feel bad about that sometimes because I get lost in the execution or the composition or the color or all of that. And I think it's important to remind myself, and if you're the opposite, I think it's important to remind yourself the other way, that there's execution in art, and then there's emotion and the spiritual aspect. And so I love Kelly's piece here, just a great example of what we can do with pastel, with the texture and the lighting. Beautiful example. And I love the square format. Gives it a little more abstract quality, even though you can tell it's a pretty traditional landscape. But great job leading into the scene there in great colors. So some of these booths are pretty small. So I'm going to kind of make my way through, but I'm going to step out around so you all can feed your way in at some point during. This one's bigger, so it's not too bad. When you get in here, look at this piece over here. It's wonderful. You can tell it seems to be a potted plant, but the abstract nature, the quality of it, the light of it, and the color. And I think this is a really good example, and we'll see this so many places. How many pastels do you have in your collection? I mean, they're huge. I was talking to Steffi Clark, and she was saying that she and her friends have a competition to see who has the most pastels, and they're trying to one-up each other. But very, very few colors here in this piece. And again, a lot of that, you can see that in a lot of this work. We don't have to use every stick. Go ahead and buy them all when you go to the candy store, but we don't have to use all of the colors. But I really love the abstract nature. You can kind of tell what it is, but the light and the colors is really great here. And then right next to it, I live in North Arkansas, and don't get to the beach very much. We don't have beachfront in Arkansas, but I do appreciate and love these sunset scenes, the tropical nature of the trees there. That's a beautiful piece there. Now, Sharon, I got to meet her yesterday, an award winner, of course, award of merit here, and again, very, very limited palette, but the impact that has, just that dark background. The Renaissance painters, they always did that dark background for depth. That really works well here to bring that warmth. Again, very abstract, but you can tell what it is. We're not going to talk about every piece, I promise. On Monday, Tuesday, we went out and hiked, and again, I'm in Arkansas, and I've been to this area, but just to get out in the desert, I don't get here very often, and the desert's just beautiful, and I really appreciate these desert scenes. And I went out and did a little plein air painting yesterday morning out by the Rio Grande, and it did get hot, and we left about 10:30, but completely different colors than what I would normally have picked. And it's just amazing to me. And again, as we go through, I'm a landscape painter, and So I'm obviously drawn to landscapes. That's what I enjoy. I'm trying not to be too biased here as we go through, but I really love the colors in this one. And then Chris's piece here, as it leads you in, really good composition on this piece. All right. Natalie, I'm sorry. I like your piece, but we're moving on. I'm a tonalist fan. Anybody here tonalist movement fans, American tonalism? I'm a part of the American Tonalist Society. Tonalism, luminism, this is a really great example of that. And again, really limited palette, but the glow of it, the color choice is just really nice. Great atmosphere in this piece here. And then if you know my work at all, you know I love water. So great underwater stuff there. And then right behind Pat, Cynthia, I got to meet her here recently, and I love her water reflections. Really good stuff. And the glow around the bend. All right, if you haven't been in, come look. This is great stuff in here. Many of you have probably been in here before and seen it all. I got to have dinner last night with Aaron Schur and Daniel Keys, and Aaron was talking about this painting, and he talked about how pastel is, what were the words he used? He said it was, well, he definitely said it was aggravating, but he said it in a good way. And if you follow Aaron at all, he goes out and he backpacks for like 3-4 days in the mountains and does plein air. So he has to travel with a small kit, obviously. He's in good shape, but still. But he's talking about how he's painting this plein air, and he didn't have the right color and value for the clouds. And he got real frustrated by it, but then he talked about how that's what he enjoys about pastel. We can't just mix up the right color and value like you can with oil or acrylic or whatever, but so he had to make something work. He thought maybe the gray was too dark, so he just went over it, glazed over it with a little bit of blue. The blue would be too much, but when you get it together, it works, and it really forces you to make some decisions you wouldn't have otherwise, and to really stick with, I'm kind of a follow the reference, kind of that's my natural intuition, but I do like that about pastel, that I don't have that color and value, can I get something else that will work? And I think it brings some creativity to the piece, that it forces us to be creative that we wouldn't have otherwise done. So I really love Aaron's work. Of course, landscape, of course, I connect with that. Nina, when you get around in here, Nina, I just met her as well. The glow of the reflected light on these rocks, make sure you pay attention to that when you come and look at that little piece there, because that is beautiful. Now, we had some conversation a little bit before. The Freemans were over there, and of course they're real tight drawing painters, not loose at all. But I love that. I love the variety here, and we'll see a lot more of it. But the real detailed work, I don't have the patience for it. I'm glad some of you do, though, because I love it. And the colors here. Who said thank you? Okay, I thought I was talking about somebody's piece here. It's like, well, why didn't you tell me? Okay, but even with the tight work, the color selection in this one is so good. But the texture here, and I like that about this piece because it is very tight. It is more a drawing than a painting, but they use the texture of the pastel on that wool. On all that yarn, and it's just wonderfully done there. And then right next to it, the texture of this portrait. And a lot of times, I've done a few figurative things, and I tend to get real tight because I want people, you know how it is. Those of you who are afraid of painting portraits, like me, I'm afraid it's not going to look like the person is supposed to be, and everybody's going to know it. I think I was talking about Mark about this the other day. If you put a mark down, and you're trying to paint a tree, and there's a little blob off the side, that's fine. It's because it's just another group of leaves. But if it's their nose, then they have, they have a wart or something. But this wonderfully done, and I would love to learn more this scribbly, textured work. That's something that I have in mind to work on at some point, because I love that. I love that we can do that with pastels. Rachel White's little piece is really nice here too. And another great, since we're talking about portraits, a more tight portrait. And this, when I first came in here, I started on I got a sneak peek because I had to do the walkthrough, so I got in early. All of the master side was hung. There were a few pieces that they were etching, but most of that was hung. All of this was still on the floor, and she was like looking up at me, and it just grabs my attention, along with another portrait that's in here that you'll see will definitely grab your attention. But I love the way that she's just looking right at you in this piece. But the clouds just really add something to this one. The emotion. I'm not an emotional person. I already told you that, but the emotional impact of what's going on here is wonderful. More landscape. I could talk about it, but I won't. The light in this one is really, really nice as well, and this figurative over here. And the face, maybe they don't like to draw faces either, but it works there, the way they've lost the face a little bit. I love that. All right, y'all bleed through that. Walk through there if you haven't already. All right, this one. Is this yours? Okay, come tell us about it. Please.
I always collect photographs of people, and I have a collection quite a bunch of photographs of myself. This is my art teacher. When I was in my 20s, I was starting to do art, and being a graphic. When I became a graphic designer, and I returned to art, and I tried to look at sales, and that was my first choice to Playboy. So I made several images, and I like the portraits to talk to.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Oh, thank you. That's so good. So that was your art teacher. That's wonderful. Yeah, this was another one when I was walking through. The attitude that she has just really caught my attention. Over here, semi-landscape. It's okay. I can talk about this one because it's not quite landscape. It's a little more abstract. But the real graphic quality of this, and again, I love the variety and the juxtaposition where you have something so abstract as this. It's just color and design, and very beautifully done. And then your wonderful portrait over here as well. I've always liked Stephanie's work. So the way I got started back in pastels, it was in 2023. So years ago, I had a little set from Hobby Lobby, and I've always drawn and that kind of thing. But and I did it for a while. Then I had kids, and can't leave it out because they'll get into it, and it was hard to get. And just life happens, and so I put it away. In 2023, I was scrolling through Instagram, or 2022, end of 2022. I was scrolling through Instagram, and I saw Jacob Aguiar's work. And I'm drawn to landscapes and his, expressive, impressionistic style. And then I saw it was pastels, and I thought, I've got some of those. And they were Hobby Lobby pastels, but they were fine. I pulled them out, and the thing is, I didn't know about the surfaces when I used to do it, and maybe there weren't as many available. But learned about UArt and sanded surfaces, and that kind of took me down the road. But Stephanie is part of Jacob's group as well, as is Sarah, probably some of you, others of you in here. But I've always admired the softness of Stephanie's work. Has a very feminine quality, a softness to it. And again, I love that about pastels and the way that she leaves the paper, which I'm really bad about, and I really appreciate when other artists do that. When you let the underpainting peek through, when you let the paper peek through, I think that works really, really well in this piece, and just enough information to so that we know what that is. Another beautiful portrait over here, award winner. This one really caught my eye too. After the attitude over here, this one's called Happy, and the color choices and the texture in this one, I really, really good. And that's something too that catches my eye because I'm still working on that, but the boldness of the color choices, which pastel is great because it forces us to do that. If I was mixing paint, it'd probably all be gray. Not just because I'm bad at it, but also because that's just where I tend. But the bold, I love the bold. That green down there just does something for the rest of it. All right, cycle through. Make sure you catch, if you haven't seen them all, there's a really neat portrait over there as well. Another beautiful painting, a little more on the tight side, but very classic realism. And again, something that's great about pastel that you can do somewhat in some other mediums, some more than others. But just the range of, and I get a lot, and maybe some of you do too. People look at my work and they say, "Oh, I thought that was oil," you know. So we can go anywhere from a pure drawing to something almost like an oil painting, traditional oil painting, to the wonderful texture that we have. And I love that this is right opposite Lorenzo's piece there. We can go ahead and talk about that one while we're here. I love Lorenzo's work. Landscape, sorry, we're gonna look at landscapes a lot. But I love Lorenzo's work. He does the Southwest. He also does mountains. He actually lives in Parker, Colorado, which is where I grew up. And but I love the expressive nature of his mark making, and I love that you stand back and it all comes together, but you get in close, and there's so much interest in the shape of those clouds, just with the shape of his marks, the swoop, the swipe, the scribble of his marks, and then around his trees, kind of the graphic nature that they get because of edges. Really good color in that piece. But in this little nook, we have one over here. If you come in, I love the really minimalist composition design of it. It's just trees and snow with some shadow. And I can say I've tried to do some stuff like this and haven't been able to pull it off, so I really appreciate those who can and the simplicity of it. Really great work there. The texture again, this one is really good. This one, Stan Bloomfield, is that his last name? Am I saying that? He does work that's kind of like this that really catches. I think he won the web show that they had. I think he had the best piece there. So go to the IAPS website and see his. But we're talking about Catherine here, and her work really reminds me of his in the way that she's used the texture to really the best extent in a scene with rocks, and there's water in here, and it's just all texture, which is really good. And I love that, where again, it's when you step back, it comes together. When you get in, you can see all that wonderful texture there. Sebastian, I really enjoy seeing his work. I follow him on Instagram, but the light in this is just incredible. You can come back and the values are pretty much perfect. That one looks really good. We have another award winner here. Interior scenes, I would love to do more of these too, so I really admire those who can pull this off. But straight lines, another arch nemesis of mine, so I appreciate that too. But the light, it's all about the light, and I love that. And that draws me a lot in a lot of these pieces that really have stood out to me. Is the light, but that's one of the things I noticed first. One of the things that the drama of it, the emotion of it, and the atmosphere of it, it really sets the scene when you get the light correct. And she's done a great job there. Caprice, I think she left, but Caprice has been the organizer, the lead organizer of this whole thing. So if you run across Caprice, make sure you say thank you, because it's a lot of work. All these panels, all these lights, all the hanging. She and her daughter work together to arrange everything, so the paintings all go together and coordinate and work together, look nice together. But I saw her working on this piece online. She's part of the Arkansas Pastel Society, president of the Arkansas Pastel Society, and I'm a member. And so she was sharing this online, and we actually had some Facebook comments about it back and forth. But I didn't know until I got here that she used some of the metallic pastel, especially in the sheet metal. And she uses a lot of metallic watercolor in her underpainting. So make sure you come look at this one close and see the, you just don't get that. I love that we can share digitally. And it's really great that I can share my work on Instagram or whatever. People will find it, but that's the stuff you miss when you don't get to see it in person. So if you're real close to that one, move around, but it just adds something to that sheet metal. This was another one when I was coming through the first time around that kind of stopped me in my tracks. Just very subdued. It is a very tonalist feel, so that's probably part of it. But tonalists traditionally paint landscapes. This is a very, very nice tonalist cityscape, but so much depth in the shadows, and that's hard to pull off. Having that, those subtle transitions in the lights and in the darks, but this is challenging and just done so well with the temperature shifts and all that in the shadows. Glowing tree is really nice. It's semi-landscape. I won't focus too much, but I love it. I love the glowing tree. This one caught my attention too because this is something I admire because it would be a challenge for me, partly because I would get impatient and partly because I don't know if I could do it. It takes a lot of skill to have the light and shadow on fur is just incredible. I don't know how she pulled that off, but yeah, magic. Because you can't just do straight. You got to let the fur come over some of those shadows, and just amazing the way she pulled that together. Some beautiful city scenes over here. Make sure you wrap around and see those. So I have family in Texas, so I'm familiar with cacti. I have family in, is this yours? Oh, okay, awesome. I'm familiar with cacti. I have family that lives south of Dallas and have a big ranch out there. We used to run around and try not to get bit by rattlesnakes and stuff. But I love cacti paintings, and I love the color and the texture. And I'd love you to tell us more about what made you paint this piece.
Well, I'm pretty new to pastels, and so a couple years ago, my daughter and son-in-law said, we're going to Albuquerque. I live in Amarillo. So we thought, well, yeah, come up here. So we're in Old Town. I saw the cactus, took a picture of it. I love the shadows and the highlights. I tend to do more still lines, but that one really grabbed my attention. So about 6 months ago, I thought, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I did it, entered some pieces, and that one ended up making the show. When I brought it up here, I thought, that's funny that a couple blocks over, I took a picture of this, and now I'm back up here delivering it. But I too am a retired graphic artist, involved in ministry, so a lot of similar type stories. And just, I normally don't do cactus, but that one was kind of fun to do.
Very nice, yeah. And the color in it, and you got to come. So you must have prepared your surface here, because I can see some texture underneath. So did you do gesso over here? Color fix, okay. But yeah, that vertical texture just really adds something to it, to the ruggedness of it, which you need with cacti. You need that sense of danger, even though there's the beauty there. I love that about it. Very nice work. All right. Ian Ivans over here. If you haven't followed her at all, she does really good work, and she does a little more semi-abstract water reflections quite a bit. And so make sure you check out hers and go find her and follow her, because it's really good stuff. I'm drawn to water as well. I like to paint water in mountains, Those are my big two. Other stuff is nice too, but right next to her is this. This is the kind of thing too that I'm really drawn to. So I've spent a lot of time fly fishing, just fishing in general. I like to wade the creeks, and that's where a lot of inspiration comes from my paintings. And this is the kind of thing that I see, just the swirls of the light and the water and all the flow of everything, and have attempted, but not as successfully as this, to capture that abstract nature of all that flowing water. And again, you know what it is, but you don't know what it is. And I love that about that abstract piece. And I was talking to somebody else here recently that was saying we really need more abstract and pastel because it is perfect for that, just because of the texture that you can get from it and the variety that you can get from it. So branch out and do some abstract when you get home, because we need some more of it. Representational is good too, but we need more. This one really caught my attention when I first came through as well. The lost edges, and just so expressive in all the motion. I don't know if the wind is blowing or if it's just being expressive as an artist, but it works so well. And this is something that I try to incorporate that is done really well here, is the vignette effect that comes from blurring the corners, and that just draws you in to the middle. And something that if you do landscape art or any type of a scene that's a little bit larger, you don't have to refine every single side, everything you see. The camera will do that, but we don't see like that, and our peripheral vision is blurred, and you can incorporate that to draw attention, and that's done so well here in this one. I really like the graphic nature of this one. And speaking of graphic nature, make sure you come around and see this one when you get a chance. But Greg is here with us, and Greg has also been in Jacob Aguiar's group, so I've been familiar with Greg's work for a while and seen it progress. And so you tell us about why did you paint this piece?
This piece was really a lesson in patience, is what I think it is. So it's a scene in Boston. If anyone's familiar with Boston, you're coming from Cambridge over the Longfellow Bridge into Boston, and then you take a left turn to get on Sterling Drive and on the highway out of the city. It can be a trafficy area, but it's a beautiful spot. So I go there every Sunday. I also have a teenager. He's going to be a senior in high school as well, and he's an artist. His name is Axel. He does beautiful oil paintings. And he is, every Sunday afternoon, we have a painting class in Cambridge, and this is the drive home. So it sort of commemorates that time that I get to spend with him, with good windshield time with my son, but also just you get to see this scene where people don't always have patience when they're driving in Boston, but if you just take a breath and you can see what beauty is around you, that's sort of what it's about. So I like to paint with kind of wonky lines, because by my day job is I'm an engineer, and maybe it's me rebelling against precision and that kind of thing. So, yeah.
And I love that, we would never know that the connection with your son that you have in this piece, and I didn't even know that. Also, I hope you don't mind me sharing, but he's partially colorblind, red-green colorblind. And he was telling me he tries to avoid those colors because of that. And this is very blue, but lots of green in it, and a little bit of red. So he was very adventurous in this one. But really, really great job. A really very unique style. I love his stuff. All right, we're a little over halfway, and as much as I hate to, there's so many good pieces here, but does anybody have a piece on this side? All right, anybody else? Okay, Cindy, I got yours here. Okay, take us to your piece. You know where it is? All the way to end. That's fine. Let's go look at it. Which one's yours? This one here? Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. You mind telling us why you painted this?
Well, I met this girl in my travels, just like girl on the street in Kyrgyzstan, in one of the Sun countries that used to be Russia or USSR. Anyway, so she was just so beautiful, and she looked up at me and just captured my heart. But the story I want to tell you about the painting itself. So it was my demo many years ago, and I live in Mexico, and it's semi-LA, and semi-LA paper doesn't do very well in moisture. So she was on the wall, frame but no glass because I don't want to capture moisture in the glass, right? So, and she got a little damaged and dusted and like endured so much. So then I picked her up last year and fixed her up, and she looked good. And then I sent her to she entered the show, she got in. I sent her by FedEx, and she came my museum glass broken in pieces and like scattered all over her. I was like in just shock. So like anyway, so she got fixed. My friend in Albuquerque went to another printing shop and fixed her. And I'm just wondering, like this painting endures so much and won the first place.
Yes.
I wonder about the girl. So like, what does her life turn out to be? Being in Kyrgyzstan, somewhere like in a rural area. So compared to the painting endured a lot. So I just wondering what she did. So I call her innocence because back there, like she's very innocent. I wonder what she's now.
So how long ago did you originally paint this?
I'd say 10 years ago or something like that. Yeah, and it was like on the wall without glass. So all this year.
Maybe that added to the character. Yeah, well, that's such a great story.
Lots of leadership does there.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, this one definitely, and then just her gaze, just looking right at us. That's beautiful. All the paper peeking through. I love that. Minimal marks, and it's just great. All right, Cindy, where'd Cindy go? Where's yours? Right? Oh yes, I remember because this seems to stray a little from what you would normally do.
I've traveled a lot over the last 7 or 8 years, and I love to paint my scenes from where I've been. And I've learned that over the last few years that what I really love painting so much is architecture. And so I can't do landscapes, but and this was one that I've intended to paint for about 3 years, and I decided a couple of months ago to get it out and do it, and so it was plus the ones that I've experienced. I think I always have a little bit of your heart in them, and so it was just a joy to paint. And as I went through it, the colors were just naturally so united, and then with the sky, the composition, I think I compose, as I take photos, I compose it. So it's kind of ready to go in that area as I begin to paint it. And it just was kind of a pleasure for me to do it. And, when you enter one of these, you never know, and I didn't have much confidence that anything good would turn out, so it was a thrill when it got into this. This was my first time in the show, so it was exciting.
And it's sold. Yeah.
Yeah, the Parthenon in Greece. So we got the Greek guy, I guess that it was admired.
Yeah. She said the Greek guy from yesterday was here admiring because this is from Athens.
Here, so he was admired.
She's Arkansan. So, yeah, a great job, Cindy. I love it. Again, I admire that because getting in all that detail, I don't know if I have the patience for it, but that's why I do landscapes, because you can just do whatever. It's fine. Okay. Good job. Anybody else on this side? I don't want to miss anybody in pieces. I do want to, this piece right here, another one just caught my attention. the Sarah passes it. Back up, Sarah. This one, just the design and then the color use, really nice here. And the interesting thing about this piece to me is the subject is not lit. The background is lit, and the subject is almost in shadow, but it works so well. I would have never thought to do that, but it just works really well. Maybe because all that yellow brings you in, and she's done all that with the marks, and then this lead-in line here, some of that there, all that brings you back there into the focal area. But really good composition and design. And that square format again, if you want to be more abstract, a little more impressionistic, go with the square format because that'll kind of force you a little bit in that direction. So really good work there. Cheryl's is nice too. It's a landscape though. I'll move on. This one's nice. Check out this award winner here. I wish we had time for all of them, but we're gonna move this way. We're still in the open section here. We have another award winner, another interior scene, and the way that these figures, what really stood out to me, these figures just bleed into the background, and you only know that they're there because of a few simple marks. And that idea of lost edges is also an important concept. You know, we see peripheral visions blurred. When we look at things, not everything is outlined, just the way we perceive things. And so if we lose our edges a bit, let things kind of bleed together a little bit, leave just enough information where we know that there's something there, it really can be very effective. And she's done a great job on this one. This is nice too, but I just love the blue-haired girl here and all of that. Looks really good. The texture on this one, come look at this one up close when you come by, because the texture is really, really incredible. Broken color, another important concept that we hear often in painting, but this is a really incredible way to do it, kind of a scribbly, textural way to add broken color. So it's not always just put two marks next to each other that are same value, slightly different color. You can do it with all sorts of creative marks. Again, the advantage of pastel, we can do some really, really cool stuff with the texture of it. This figurative is beautiful. And again, if you come up and look close, there are no warts on the noses because this artist knows what they're doing with noses, but very, very minimal marks. It doesn't have to be tight to represent. And I really, really like that one. This really stood out to me because this is not something I would think to do. I'm very logical. I'm very, like Cindy said, I go take reference photos and then I edit them and I try to get the reference photo ready and then I kind of follow the reference photo and I'll adjust a little bit. But to go way outside the box like this is really foreign to me, so I really appreciate the abstract nature of this. Feels inspired by flowers or grass, but sometimes I would love to hear the artists and what they were inspired by, but at the same time to have pieces where the interpretation is just left up to us, the viewer, I think is an important part of art as well. I love that we had Greg's connection and the drive with his son, but at the same time, something great about art is maybe somebody else has been down that street and they have their own memory of it. So I love sometimes that artists leave things so abstract like this that we are the ones that come up with the meaning behind it. So I really appreciate that. All right, get a close look. Yeah, that one in the middle especially, that texture is really good. Zoom's over there. We'll head there. It is still open, I think. All right. Got to check out the Gold Award. Now we're in the Master section. The gold award is here, another great figurative, very minimal expressive marks. The real strength of pastel, and that's yours. Okay, that's wonderful. You gotta speak up. I think somebody was trying to tell me that, but yeah, come tell us about it. Tell us about this piece.
I've always focused my attention on the figure. I love drawing the figure, and I'm interested in the shapes that people create and their gestures and the emotions that are expressed through shape and gesture. I've gotten in the last few years really interested in family shapes and connections and overlapping family shapes and the way that values and colors and light connect to people. When I saw the mother and the children, and there were a lot of younger people around, all different ages, in all different kinds of beachwear and so on. She was so practical in her attire, as were the kids. It seemed like a joyous moment, but she also looked a little tired to me, and like she could use another hand, kind of like she had her hands full. So I was really interested in that emotional connection and expression through through the shapes and gestures.
Beautiful. And as a parent, I understand. And I love that about that. That is another one that stood out to me because I have two girls and they're teenagers now, but remembering them and being tired on every vacation or everything you went to do, but you do it anyway.
You see that little toddler doing his little toddler walk over the sand and the waves. You captured it so beautifully.
Yeah, great poses and the motion. Wonderful work. And now this one here, the peaches, really grabbed my attention too. Again, the color obviously just really stands out. Composition is good, but this is what I think of as both of these works, real typical pastel, the texture there, the gestural, and if you come look up close again, very minimal marks. There's a little bit of probably pastel over pastel blending. I don't know that I see any finger blending necessarily, but which again I appreciate because I do a lot of blending, partly because I don't have the skill to not blend as much, and I love that about this piece. Almost a graphic quality to it, but still very real in its values, and I love that combination. All right, Sarah Rose is here, and I always joke with Sarah online because she is an incredible painter, but she never paints any bigger than this, pretty much. but the detail that she gets is just incredible. You tell us that.
Yes, for me this is a very large painting. I normally work 6 by 6, 6 by 8, so 8 by 10 is large, but that is my husband and I's cat, and she has a spot she hangs out in my studio every afternoon with the light coming in, mostly from behind, and I'm just a sucker for light shining through the ears, and she's got little tips of light on her whiskers, and that's what it's about.
Very, very nice. Yeah. And she has a little group online called Paint My Cat, and so she gets all these photos from people, and then she paints their cats. So she got a lot of practice, but it's done so well. But yeah, sometimes I'll see, like she did a beautiful horse. How big was that horse that come on? Do you remember? Yeah. Oh, that's getting really big. But some of them, her detailed animals, and then I'll look at the description. 6 by 8. How did you do that in a 6 by 8? But very, very nice. So I love that. Come check out this one, more on the drawing side of pastel, but again, just shows the variety and the feathers and eye, and then the kind of the bokeh effect almost in the background. This one is done really well as well. Very, very believable, very real. So very gestural, very textured, very realistic. I just love the variety of pastel, and that's kind of what drew me. When I started pastel, I was drawing a lot, and go ahead and make your way through if you want to see in here. And just in pencil, and I sold a couple of drawings, and I started asking around and people who might know about things, what should I do if I wanted to sell more? This was years ago, and I never really pursued it, but I heard several times add color. Don't just do black and white pencil drawings, add color. So that kind of is what led me to pastel, and I love that it's similar to drawing, but I also love that it's like painting. It is painting. I am definitely a proponent that it is painting, but I love that we can go back and forth between the two, and we see all of that in here. Just making sure I don't want to. So I tried preparing before all this, and you cannot memorize every single piece and where it is and what exactly you want to say. So, but the shoes, I love the shoes, but I love this pizza. And I'm going to step back, and you all go look at that pizza. Go ahead and get in there, and go look at. You have to see it up close to see the cheese on the pizza. And I don't know what they used to create that texture, but they did it. They created cheese, and it looks so good. Okay. Do you know what she made the cheese out of? Yeah. Could be. Now we'll see Tom Christopher's work down here a little bit, and he uses, so it may have been something similar like a thick paint, but with gesso over it. But I wouldn't think to paint a cheese pizza or a pepperoni and supreme with M&Ms, but that's beautiful. Another wonderful expression, abstract. I am not drawn to floral paintings, but I'm drawn, at least painting them myself, but I'm always drawn to seeing others' florals. Again, partly maybe because it's something I feel like that I wouldn't be able to do, but also because just the nuance, the depth that you have to create to make this bloom stand out and really become the focal area with all the similar colors and similar values. That's not easy to do, and that abstract is done very well. The city, kind of a city skyline here is really nice too. Now another really abstract piece that you have to come in close to appreciate, lots of little scribbles, looks like pastel pencil, as well as it looks maybe some kind of liquid media. It could be a watercolor underneath. But the amount of texture, and then again, more abstract. I think we need more abstract in the pastel world. But again, I really enjoy this because this is not my logical brain. I maybe it's a fear thing. Maybe I don't want to, expend all my expensive pastels on something that may not work out. I don't know what it is, but I love that other people can do it, and I love how she has developed a composition and drawn us in with the leading lines, even in such an abstract, imaginative piece here. Another wonderful portrait here, very expressive marks. Of course, Carol's work, we recognize Carol's pretty easily, but the way that she's basically created the rainbow here for us in her color selection, but it's just atmosphere. Again, this you could consider this maybe a luminist or tonalist type piece. That's part of I think what draws me to it. But very indistinct. You can tell it's a landscape. but it's just all about the color and atmosphere and the emotion of it. And I can feel it. It feels like a morning scene to me, and I've been out, going fishing or just going to hike in the morning or just running around outside, and you just there's just that feel, and she's done such a great job of the moisture lifting. You can kind of feel that in the air, and the light just beginning to glow. And of course, Lorianne's work as well, Lorianne Signori, also very atmospheric, also very much about color and light. Interestingly, this one, she does some of these florals, but a lot of her work is also very much like Carol's. It's just the light, very abstract, very just about the mood, but a little more form in this piece, which is nice too. But I didn't notice until just now, and we talked about that one over there, that the backlighting is really, and that she's done that same thing here, and it works so well. I always love Adrian's portraits. Whenever she shares them, they're just very honest, very, you can just tell it's her. And I've never met her in person, but I interact with her through the PSA page, and she's an admin there. But I knew who she was because I had seen her portraits that she's painted, and she's a lovely woman. Definitely get to know her if you haven't. This one here is really interesting to me. Again, the color of it, an interior scene, so lighting is sometimes difficult to capture for interiors, but very interesting color choices, because I doubt that the walls and the floor and all that are that color, and maybe they were, but I don't think that they were. But to capture a mood with that very cool, all those cool colors, and then to bring in the warmth just here and there, and then really draws attention to the figure where we have that reddish color in there against all of the cool. Very gestural, a lot of texture in there. And then I'm kind of a sucker for the scribbling marks. And again, that's something that's great about pastel that I would love to explore more, but I love that way that's done here. All right, file in, make sure you see all behind the walls when you get through it here. We have Carol Hall's piece. She's on the board here, and there you are. I didn't even see you were here. What? Okay, so maybe you were here at the beginning, but I told people when we get to your piece, you got to shout out. And were you here? Have you been? Did you just come in? You did? Okay, so I'm putting you on the spot. We want to know what caused you to paint this piece.
You got it? Okay. I take my walks early in the morning. That's kind of my spiritual time. And I'm always drawn to the light. That's always what draws me. I'm from Florida, and it's very hard to be a landscape painter in Florida. Everything's flat. Everything's, there's the atmosphere's thick and humid, So, but I can't move, so I do my best to get out when the air is maybe a little clearer. And that is in our yard, and we live in some woods. And it was just about the light for me, and I love the way it just kind of is coming and popping through the trees and just kind of giving a little, little sparkle to it. That's my morning spiritual journey.
And it looks very fall, but you don't get fall in Florida, do you? So. Yeah. So was this January? Okay. Well, beautiful. And thank you for all the organization and work you've done. This is a big event, so thank you. Yeah, a little pitch here, but guilt trip for volunteers. Liz Haywood Sullivan's work here. It's all about the light in this piece. I love that. Love the light. And then so much texture. Now again, something else I appreciate, straight lines. I love painting trees and mountains and landscapes because you don't have to have straight lines. If it doesn't go straight, that's fine. It's fine. I really appreciate those who can pull off the architectural, like Cindy's work over there, the architectural, man-made, and the discipline it takes to create that. And that's tough with pastel because it just wants to do its thing, especially with sticks. They just want to do their thing, which is the good thing about pastel, but also it can be a big challenge. But we know Liz is obviously a master at it. So. Another water one, again, I'm a sucker for water, so I love that abstract nature of this. Since I fly fish a lot, that just feels like what I would come across. With our time almost up here, it is already up. I know we've got the Freeman's work, and I want to hear from them. Who else do we have here? Okay, where was yours? Oh, I'm sorry. Yell at me, you gotta yell at me. Everybody come back, come back. I knew you told me, I'm sorry. I just moved back. Okay, over here in the corner.
I'm a painter teacher, and I do landscapes. And every once in a while, I can't find a landscape that I can paint in, and I like to do vignettes. And so 2 years ago, I was with a group of artists in France, and we were painting in a little tiny village, and it was right after lunch, and we were moving lunch under a tree, and there was this stone building that had the fountain looking like a trickle with these cascading flowers. But behind it was where the people would come in and kind of pose and kind of do this. So I was fascinated with the people coming and going, what are these flowers and the stones. And I put it on this bigger piece, the doubles, it was just amazing.
Very nice. And the softness, it just works really well. Yeah. And that's fine. I went through a time where I felt a little guilty about blending because somebody had told me, don't blend pastels, but just use it. Just use the pastels, and you can draw with it, you can paint with it, you can blend with it.
Get involved with blending when you're doing this. You become intrigued with other people's patchworks and other things, and I'm drawn to see that, especially at a show like this, is the things that so it's great.
Wonderful work. Okay. Anybody else? I'm sorry we passed you before. Okay, we got the Freemans here. We got to hear from the Freemans before we. No, we do. All right. Ladies first. We'll do ladies first. Come on over. I do know where yours is. We'll give everybody a minute to amble over. But Julie, tell us about how your husband inspired you to take this.
I just got into doing still life about 7 years ago. So even though my work, I do quite varied subject matter. I find that doing still life very challenging. It's much more challenging than finding a natural still life in the environment. So you have to think about composition and where to place things. We were going through a very difficult time last year, and it was quite a stressful time. So I wanted something that was simple and restful, and I just loved the contrast in colour. I loved the contrast in the texture. And stacking stones, I don't know whether anyone knows about the religious concept of stacking stones. It is about patience and spirituality. And I like a little bit of tension with the feather, because it looks like it's going to fall. But it's done in pastel pencil and on pastel mat.
Beautiful. Is it on black pastel
So it was a great pastel mat. Thank you for sharing the spiritual aspect of it. And I can definitely connect with that.
And I do like the shadow here. It's almost like a bird.
Yes. Yeah. The depth that that adds is just great to it. Very good. All right, Michael.
No, I think you've run out.
Michael. Now, if we have time, we'll come back to that one. But yours is right over here, Michael. Come here. Come here. All right, he's got a mask scene over here. Yeah.
Well, this is a painting that I took a reference photo probably 8 or 10 years ago, and it scared me. I love the image, I love the detail, and we're all about detail, as you know. But I wasn't sure I could pull it off. And David Dicker, I noticed he uses a magnifying glass. I love his work. And so I figured, well, maybe I'll try using a magnifying glass, which is what I needed to pull my notes off to get the fine detail. And I love the reflections. I'm starting to think, I've collected photographs of windows where you can see amazing things in the reflection and also in the background. And it was all about the colour and the values, and I just enjoyed the image.
And how often did you have to sharpen your pencils? Like every other mark?
The interesting thing about hyperrealists, we hear about mark making. And mark making, people look at our work and they don't think there's any marks. But the hyperrealist, the skill in the hyperrealist is actually in removing any evidence of the medium. And that's something I really, really enjoy. That's what I guess ticks my boat or whatever.
And it's fun to hear that, because I think I was telling you, I was listening to this audiobook on the way here that was recommended by somebody from the IAPS family, and it was talking about the rise of French Impressionism, and at the time they were all about hyperrealism, and they rejected the Monets and the Manets because of their expressiveness, and I just love that we still have all of it. We have the hyperrealism and trying to remove the evidence of the medium, and then also celebrating it as well.
The exciting thing always, I think, about coming to this exhibition during competitions with Pastel is the diversity. It's from abstract right through to hyperrealism. We love all, and that's what's exciting. And listening to your views of that, I think we should hear them.
Thank you, Michael. Well, when you come look at this piece, it's and you'll see when you get here, but it's through a window, right? So there's window reflection, and you're looking into, was it a storefront?
It was in an antique shop window.
And he's done a couple like that are really, really cool, looking through the window. So I know it's on the back here, and there's lots of people, but look at that before you leave very, very closely. And the little notes that he used a magnifying glass to produce. All right, we'll let you look at that one, but for the sake of time, okay. I like many of you, I don't like talking about my work, but I'll talk about my work a little bit. I grew up in Colorado. I live in North Arkansas now, though Colorado still feels like home. Arkansas does too. It's become home too. And we do have Ozark Mountains in Arkansas, but they're not these mountains. Yeah, and so I grew up in just south of Denver in a town called Parker, which is actually where Lorenzo Chavez is now. And we would always, my grandparents had a timeshare condo in a little town called Fraser, which is near Winter Park, Colorado. And so we would go up there pretty regularly every year. And this is that Fraser Valley, and this is Byers Peak. And a lot of the mountain paintings I do are of this peak because it's just like the perfect picturesque shape, especially when it's mountain, or when it has the snow on top. This was in late May, early June, somewhere in there, so that's still spring for, in fact, there was more snow that piled on the mountains while we were there at that time. Not down low in the valley here, but we had an Airbnb that backed up to the Fraser River that runs through this valley, which was wonderful. I took my plein air stuff, and I didn't use it at all because I went out and I fly fished every morning, and then we did family stuff. But I couldn't give up the fly fishing time and the trout were calling. So, but when I was down there, I probably spent as much time taking photos as I did fishing because it was amazing. And our Airbnb, this was taken from our Airbnb across the valley. So we got to see this mountain in all the light, rain, morning, evening, and it's amazing. The last day I got to go fishing, I was walking along down, and if you ever get down in we call them parks in Colorado, if you get down in a park like this down by the river, there's always willows, and they're huge. I'm short, but still they're big. They're big willows, and you can't really see around them. It's almost like a labyrinth, a maze getting through there. And I rounded the corner with my fishing gear, in my waders, kind of tromping around, and there was a mother moose and her calf, and they were probably from me to the wall behind Michael there. And moose, if you don't know, are some of the most dangerous animals that you can come across in the wild. Fortunately, they're more dangerous if you have a dog, and I didn't have a dog with me. But they can be dangerous when they have calves, and very protective. I stopped, she stopped, we all stopped, and I backed away slowly. And I don't do animals much, but I did a little painting of that encounter. But it was just amazing. So Colorado always calls me back, but I also love clouds. Clouds to me are kind of like water, and so I'm drawn to that. I get a lot of questions about the texture. I use alcohol spray throughout my process. A lot of paintings start with an alcohol underpainting, but I use it all the way to the end, and I spray it at the very end often to add extra subtle texture. And I love that about the alcohol because it'll evaporate away. And if you have especially in the clouds here, if you have a very slightly darker value underpainting and a very slightly higher value overpainting, when you go to spray with the alcohol, it'll dissolve that overpainting and let the underpainting peek through just a little, and you get that nice, I love it that we can't get splatters with our dry medium, but you can with the alcohol. Toothbrush, yeah, to bring some texture back. Yeah, sometimes I'll use like a little piece of squeegee or something too sometimes to bring it back, but yes.
I love the way you handle those trees.
Oh, thank you.
They're just amazing.
Thank you.
Is this the same scene you did at Pace?
I did. Pace was the same mountain, but the peak of it was up here. Yeah, and I'm going to paint the same peak for the demo. I'm filling in for Daniel Keyes. Unfortunately, his mother passed away, so he had to bow out of his demo. But I'm going to do this mountain again. And somebody told me it's like Monet and his water lilies. You know, you can paint the same thing over and over again, and it's fine. So that's what I'm going to claim. But it's really because I have a lot of reference photos, and I don't get back to Colorado enough. And so, but it's just the perfect peak to paint. So. Thank you. And the trees, just hold your stick vertically and just go across with some different colors. It's that easy. No, really, that's probably one of the easiest parts about this piece. But thank you. Thank you all. Really enjoyed it.